Hey guys, Celtic Fury 3 here, doing another commentary battle for Rome 2 Total War. In this battle, I'll be playing as Carthaginians again. My ally will be playing as the Parthians. I'm sorry. We'll be playing against the Egyptians and the Parthians. In this battle, my opponent brought artillery, so I'll be showing you a little bit how to manipulate your opponent so that you can destroy his artillery. And a lot of that has to do with destroying his cavalry first, and you're gonna see that happen. My ally, His Majesty the King, I believe, that's literally his name, is bringing a very interesting army comprised of almost entirely archers and then cavalry. It works out pretty well for him, I suppose. He kind of has to retreat his cavalry, but his archers got destroyed. Anyhow, on my flank things go well enough to where I'm able to take on his opponent as well as my opponent at the same time. As soon as it's done loading. Oh, by the way, the software I'm using to record this, I finally figured out how to do game audio and my voice. I also can do just game audio or my voice, but now I figured out how to do game audio and my voice, so I'm going to start recording just like any other normal recorder with little to no music and game audio included, because I know that the first couple battles there hasn't been game audio because the software that I'm using doesn't really allow that. It allows you to have background music but nothing else. So I'm bringing my standard setup for the Carthaginians. I know you guys have been seeing me play as the Carthaginians a lot, and I'm gonna give you guys a different faction soon. I've just actually only recently, when I started commentating, I recently started playing with the Carthaginians, and I started to like them a lot. I started to kind of figure out the balance and what kind of armies I liked with them, and you know, I've lost a couple, yes, but I really had success with this in general, because every battle I've lost, I've defeated my opponent. It's just been a matter of my ally or something along those lines. Anyway, so we're starting with the battle. I have my standard setup of pikes on the flank, African pikemen, two Libyan infantry on the flank of 3 sacred band, 2 elephants, 2 Carthaginian cavalry, and 2 Balearic slingers. My ally, I believe, has 6 cavalry. I can't exactly remember what they're called, and 8 archers and 4 cataphracts, I believe. Yeah, he has 6, 3 on each flank, and then 4 in reserve. Those are the 4 cataphracts. So we'll see how this goes. Very interesting army setup, I must be honest. I don't really like it because it seems to be kind of spammy. It's a lot of archers, but it works pretty well for him here. It was a little close, but anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and start moving up my my army here, and pretty soon I'm gonna realize he has artillery. And I'm messaging my ally here saying they lack cohesion. Perfect, because you can see there's already a huge gap. And in the end of the battle, my ally, His Majesty the King, is actually going to fall back to me, representing our cohesion, something they don't have. So it's important. It's important to work as a team. I've said that before. Can't say it enough. Anyway, moving up my army here to take on my opponent. At the time, I was kind of thinking, you know, how do I deal with this artillery? He's got those Hellenic Royal Guard. My pikes are no use to those. They're pointless to fight with. Just get destroyed. And then he's got also these Camel Archers, which was not looking good for me because I have those elephants. I don't want them to run amok or anything. So there was a lot of things going on in my head at the time, including what the hell do I do? Because he has those camel archers, and I don't want my elephants to run amok. And this is something opponents try to do to me all the time. I don't think it's ever really successfully worked. If it does, I'll show you guys a battle, I promise, but I don't think I've ever seen it have success. So here, and this was my fault actually, I should have been moving up my slingers earlier. As soon as I saw those camels, should have moved up my slingers, because they can really tear up those cavalry missile units. So that was my fault all the way. He's also going to move over, I believe those are chariots and some cavalry. Can't quite remember what he brings. I was able to destroy a large part of my opponent's army and not lose a single unit. It wasn't until the very end of the battle when a couple units routed. But other than that, it was a pretty good victory for me, because no one else routed. So I'm just kind of sending out my cavalry, actually drawing his cavalry in as my main goal. So I'm going to go ahead and charge my cavalry in. And he's going to turn away just in the nick of time for me to catch him on the flank. Make those men shaken. Perfect. Anyway, I'm going to send in all my cavalry here and make my slingers shoot those camels. So, you know. Like I was saying earlier, guys, I now can record live commentary, like really live commentary. But I won't be able to do replays because Rome 2 replays still don't work for me. So, but I'll be bringing you those live commentaries. Hopefully you guys will like those. We'll see. Anyway, so here my opponent charges in his cavalry against my 1. I'm kind of having a tough time managing just 3 cavalry over there when I really should be using 4 for his 5. But I'm bringing these elephants to really hurt the morale of my opponent. And yeah, they're just gonna start. There's a mass waver, and then that mass waver turns into a mass rout very soon. So that was good, obviously. And then he's gonna immediately start moving out this Hellenic Royal Guard. There's 3 of them. He has 3 of them right now. So something I really don't want to get in contact with is those Hellenic Royal Guard, because they're so good. They're so strong, really strong pike unit. So I'm gonna bull rush these. I'm sorry, what are they? Scythe chariots. And I haven't had much experience with scythe chariots, and I haven't done any test battles. Sometimes I do test battles, one-on-one cavalry to see which one is superior. But I haven't done test battles with the scythe chariots. Or actually, I did one. Actually, yeah, that's right. I did one with but with against cavalry. So I don't know how scythe chariots work out against infantry. I'm sorry, elephants. So I was a little iffy when I was first charging in there, but it worked out for the better because I was able to rout one of his chariots and the other one routes later. I actually have to withdraw because of these pikes. Don't want to come in contact. You're gonna see me withdraw my men 15 different times. Just to make them, because what often happens, and I recommend doing that, I really do. What often happens is your men stay in contact with the enemy even though you've told them to withdraw, because that's what they're doing. They're in contact with the enemy. That's what they're going to continue to do unless you give them the order so many times that they finally just withdraw. So whenever you're trying to withdraw something rapidly, give them multiple orders until you beat that dead horse till it's dead. Anyway, so just a little bit more of this playing with my horses and artillery. He is going to use his scythe chariots quite well here and use them against my slingers. And that's one thing that if you just think about it, scythe chariots would be perfect against men running from you, because you've got those scythes on the wheel. You've got these sharp curved blades just right on the wheels. So literally they're going to ride and cut my men down as they do it. But I was able to rout them, but I lost a slinger unit. It really sucked. But then right here, I'm like, oh, what am I doing? He has no cavalry except for those camel archers, which I don't care about. So I'm just going to go ahead and move up my cavalry. And this is what I was talking about. Destroy your opponent's artillery, and a large part of it is either him not having cavalry or him losing his cavalry. One of my opponent's mistakes was actually moving out. It would have been very difficult to destroy his artillery, and possibly very difficult to defeat him had he not moved out his Hellenic Guard. Now he's going to go for the noob triangle. That's what I'm calling it. And yeah, he's going to noob up here, form up a noob triangle. I can't really blame him necessarily, but it's still annoying and amateur, but whatever. So if you can look on the mini map on the screen, you can see that the opponent to my ally, His Majesty the King, who played well, don't get me wrong, has pretty much cleaned him up. His Majesty the King still has lots of cavalry left, but in general his army is not intact. And also that Slinger unit came back from routing, so I'm just gonna wait for him. You're gonna see this is gonna become a waiting game. If someone is circling up like that, don't respond to it. Don't fight a battle you can't win. That's foolish. Don't do that. I'm not saying you would necessarily, but just don't ever even think about it. So I'm gonna start to surround him, but then I kind of realize that at this point in the battle I start to realize, wow, you didn't win. Okay, let me turn my army around. And my army is literally fully intact. Look at my infantry casualties. Cavalry casualties really aren't that bad. My slinger casualties are pretty bad. But other than that, nothing else is taking casualties. I'm going to get my elephants close here and tell them to fire at those Hellenic guards that maybe I can really weaken them, so when they do come out, I'll be able to fight them without getting my butt kicked by 3 units. Anyway, so the opponent to my ally being His Majesty the King, has, I think, 4 Parthian swordsmen. We'll see here if I pan back over. Part of the problem of not doing replays is this. So I'm going to go ahead and you see me change my focus entirely, just moving to the Parthian. And his army is really not in shape to take on mine, so I give that opponent credit for fighting me in this situation, because it wasn't really to his advantage whatsoever. He did a pretty good job. But my opponent is gonna, whether he's away from the keyboard or not, I don't know, but he just stays in this triangle. Not necessarily a bad idea. It's a viable strategy, sure. Is it an easy strategy? Yes, it is, of course, but it's viable. You know, I take it. Anyway, so I'm circling my opponent so that my ally knows, because he's starting to move here. He's starting to say, screw you, I'm bringing out my units here. And I'm actually gonna charge in, I think, some elephants and cavalry to respond to that. Trying to just stay away from him for now, and slide up my men too, because I need to worry about 2 opponents right now. I need to start focusing on the one who really needs to be defeated, and then the other one who is kind of just this annoying little pain in my ass. So I've got to worry about 2 things here. Anyway, so I'm gonna charge in while these men are moving to the flank. I think I actually get them to go shaken, so it really cause a morale penalty. Steady, not quite. He's gonna go ahead and do some buffs there with his general, because his general is that unit of Hellenic Guard. But his Hellenic Guard did whip out their pikes apparently, and killed quite a few of my cavalry. But they're not gonna rout, just barely not gonna rout. So that was good. So if you can look at the mini-map again, you can see that my opponent has put his army into two different sides. You can't see the one. The one just looks like one unit open in the field, but there are quite a few, I believe, Parthian swordsmen in the forest that's right in front of me. And then to the forest to the left of me, he's got, I think it was mercenary hoplites. So that will be tough for my ally, but he did a good job. He still did a good job. That'll be tough for my ally because he only has cavalry, and he's gonna have to be super awesome with them in order to not let them all die, which he did. He did an excellent job with his cavalry. So at this point, I decided to break off part of my army, but the more I sat here, the more I realized, he's not gonna come out unless I attack him, or unless he feels totally confident of winning. So I go ahead and shift some units just to keep him pinned down, just to keep him in that area, just to not let him move, because I don't want him to, obviously. And the rest of my army, I move up, and I'm gonna start to challenge this Parthian. Now, of course, he's gonna see that. He's gonna see that my army, my line that's facing him, gets significantly smaller. But I'm gonna go ahead. Once you see the Parthian come out of the forest, I'm going to react to that by switching some units from guarding the Hellenic Guard, if that makes sense, to my front line, so that I can take on the Parthian with almost my full army. Anyway, so when you are taking on these new boxes, it's not a bad idea to have missile infantry. You can never know whether your opponent's gonna do a new box, but you can at least bring missile infantry, and then once the time comes, just know and use that missile infantry just for that. I'm actually going to show you guys a battle later where I played against a new box, and you guys are going to see how to and how not to take on those boxes. Okay, so here comes the Parthian. He's running out. Those are hoplites on the left flank, our left flank, his right flank. My allies' cavalry is going to be there to deter them and keep them kind of at bay. Anyway, and on the right flank, or actually coming down my center, is 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Parthian swordsmen. He's going to kind of take on my Sacred Band, but my Sacred Band, I'm going to give him a run for his money, and I don't think I lose any of my Sacred Band because they kind of kick his butt. But anyway, so my slingers have exhausted all their missiles. I just move them to the front. I don't really care about them anymore, to be totally honest with you. I just gotta, move them to the front and use them as kind of fodder, if you will. So my ally is moving his cavalry to the back there, you can tell, and hoplites are coming hard on my flank. I didn't have time to message him, but I was like, why did you leave the flank so open? That's the thing about cavalry armies, is that you kind of lack the ability to stay and fight, because you have to charge in to really get any fighting advantage. Otherwise, there is no fighting advantage, which is very realistic, but it's just a fact. Anyway, so I charged my slingers to hold back these Parthian swords. They do their job. They're actually confident there, but their morale is quickly going to change to steady, then shaken, then they're going to rout. But it's gonna hold back at least part of this flank here. Charge in my elephants and Sacred Band, take on his Parthian swords, because I don't like that one bit. That unit of hoplites right there routes, because they take on too many hoplites at once for them to really handle. So I'm going to use my elephants to go ahead and rout them as well. I'm keeping my swordsmen, because if he breaks that formation and starts running after me, those swordsmen will be there to come on the flank and really crush him. So you can see the Parthian army starting to waver. It's that, not trying to really insult the faction of Parthia, but it's that really low quality infantry. The best being Parthian swordsmen, which don't have very good morale. Also, I got my pikes in there, as you can see. My pikes started to do a little closing door on his units and really put the hurt on him, which helped him rout. But I am going to lose... Oh, that's right, I didn't lose those hoplites on the left flank. I lost Libyan infantry fighting those Hellenic Royal Guard, which makes a lot of sense, because they're a really good unit. Something you don't really want to be taking on at all. Not like you ever want to take on units, but anyway. So my ally still has his cavalry, and he's gonna run over here, kind of do a suicide death charge. My Libyan infantry do a decent job against such an elite and expensive unit, and two of them they're both taking on 2 Hellenic Royal Guard, so I was fairly... And then Hanahapi leaves right there. He was controlling the Parthian army. I'm going to rush over my infantry, save one of these Libyan infantry, but not both of them, sadly. That one routed. Can't really blame them. They were really losing that fight. But after this, the army losses kicked in, and enemy morale really plummeted. So, good game to my opponents. Good game to my ally. He did a considerably good job, considering bringing such a, I would say, prototype army. It's just kind of new. Almost all archers and cavalry. The concept's not new. You bring cavalry and you bring plenty of it and the best quality cavalry you can to deter enemy cavalry, because that's the only thing that can get your archers, quote unquote. And you can use your archers to destroy enemy infantry. I don't know if it works so well in this game because archers aren't all that great. Anyway, so good game to my opponents. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and leave a like. Thanks.